This video will be a retrospective on why Deep Blue Sea 2 does not suck. I have a list of reasons why, and comparing it to the first film as well, which is not an innocent film either. This film could have been considered suckish if people looked at it back then as they do Deep Blue Sea 2 now. So, everyone's saying that Deep Blue Sea 2 sucks because it's a complete carbon copy of the first movie. That's the surface level, and that's the only reason why they're saying it sucks. Besides poor CGI, bad acting, that stuff's not true. I have to get my point across. I really did enjoy this movie, but it's not as good as the first. I'm not the first one to admit that, and I'm not the last, but it's still not sucky. So the first reason, there's a twist that isn't obvious like in the first movie. Oh, the sharks are smarter. No crap. In this movie, they introduced a new threat. Not just that they were smarter, because you could pretty much figure that out right away if you saw the trailer. And if you didn't see the trailer, she's doing these tests on the sharks, like injecting stuff into the mannequin shark's brain sample. So she's obviously tinkering with it somehow. In this movie, they're wondering why she's being so aggressive, the main bull shark. And it's because she's pregnant. And then they drop her back into the wet pool really fast. She gives birth. Now the sharks are causing havoc. This also brings up another thing that people hate. The little sharks cause more damage than the big sharks. That's also not true. 4 people die by the big sharks, 4 people die by the little sharks. It's an even balance. Just because they were able to invade the facility more doesn't mean they took over the movie. The second thing is, sharks are not painted in a bad light in this film. With the addition of a shark conservationist, it helps remind us that sharks are not monsters. There's several scenes where she's trying to put the sharks in good light. She really does, throughout the whole movie, give her reasoning why she does what she does, and it really makes you care for the sharks and her opinion. The third reason is more character development. Mostly everyone in the first movie is either shady or trying to hide something, with the exception of Frank and Susan. No one was really developed. They even cut a scene from the first movie that explained Jan might have been pregnant. In this movie, we have a struggle between a loving couple that ends sincerely, a bad guy's motivations that I will admit are crazy, but crazy is as crazy does. A main heroine that wants to protect sharks, as I mentioned before, while I will admit her motivation for doing so was cut from the film. It was actually a scene when she was a kid with her mother. I think the character had enough passion to do what she needed to do and say what she needed to say to get her point across. Also, her funding is getting low, so there's no reason for her to get... So there's a reason for her to go to the station, beyond just curiosity. Those and other minor things, such as a friend helping another friend to get a job instead of having him waste his life in the basement, are reasons why this has better character development than the first movie. The CGI has improved, and I think for the most part is better than the original. The practical effects are definitely better in the first film, but the second one has good effects too. They don't look like dark blurs swimming fast by the camera. They look like sharks with wet skin and sharp teeth. The fifth and final reason is the deaths. While I do wish we saw more people ripped to pieces like in the first film, are still pretty cool. And with the addition of practical effects, it definitely adds to the kills. I will not say they're as memorable nor graphic as the first, but they do look more realistic. Now, here's another thing. People say this is just a cash-in on the first Deep Blue Sea. How can it be a cash-in if no one really talks about that movie as much as they did when it first came out, back in 1999? I understand if it was 2003 and they did the same story, or earlier than 2003, or that'd be a definite cash-in. Maybe even a little bit later on. But this has been 19 years. Plus, if you think about it, Deep Blue Sea itself is a cash-in on Jurassic Park. Hear me out. The similarities between it and Jurassic Park are found within the story. Science experiment starts taking out the people responsible for their existence is the major one. Also the fact that the sharks are fenced in like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. And there's preaching, not only from the chef, but also Dr. Whitlock claiming that they aren't God's creations, they are theirs. Kind of like how Hammond spared no expense and claimed the park was state-of-the-art. So yeah, Deep Blue Sea is a ripoff of Jurassic Park. Deep Blue Sea 2 is kind of a requel, and people get pissed at because it's a requel. But other films that have done this, that are also requels, got a lot more better praise. It's because it's a shark movie, isn't it? Everyone just hates shark movies. Every single one of them's got to suck unless they go to theaters and have a goddamn chance to be a big budget success. Sci-Fi's been pumping out some good shark movies, actually, with quality entertainment, CGI that's actually been improving, and gore. So, like, back in 2000 and till 2004 or whatever, or 5, Cypher Channel made these shark films that had terrible CGI, some gore, and a lot of practical effects. Now they're amping everything up and people are getting pissed because of the title. Sharknado, yeah, I can understand. 5-headed shark attack, 3-headed shark attack, I can understand, but the CGI is actually pretty damn good for those budgets. This film, it's freaking got its own sets, it's got a practical shark, practical gore effects, and some pretty damn good CG. I don't understand what everyone's problem is with this movie. Those are my reasons why Deep Blue Sea 2 does not suck, and yeah. Share your opinions down below.